One Market Street for us sits in a basket of buildings which is possibly the greatest basket of buildings in the city.
In terms of perception, One Market Street itself as an asset, it's maybe fallen into the pack of the other A grades. There's a real opportunity to lift the profile of the building.
We want to elevate One Market Street to be thought of differently. How do we do that? For us, it's all about positioning. Precinct positioning, asset positioning. It's about understanding how tenants think about their real estate.
Tenant centralisation is all about amenity, retention and attraction of key staff. We reference the tech sector a lot because it's highly competitive. So these companies are all about going to addresses that are going to attract staff and be able to retain those staff. Public transport and accessibility is paramount.
George Street is being returned once again to Sydney's main high street. I don't think anyone will dispute that now. Parts of George Street are finished. People are commenting all the time now about how beautiful it looks. The trams will be running up and down there next year. It really is the north-south spine of Sydney. We asked ourselves, if that's the north-south spine, what's the east-west spine? You can walk up and down King Street. It's quite a narrow street. If you cross George and head west, King Street becomes quite a narrow street with a bit of lacklustre development up and down it. If you walk to Market Street, the next block, and walk from George Street down to Darling Harbour, this street has a purpose in Sydney. It broadens, it widens, it feels like it is part of the main fabric of Sydney. If you agree that George Street is Sydney's high street once again, as it was 100 years ago, and if you agree that Market Street becomes the dominant east-west axis of the city, George and Market Street is the centre of Sydney. One Market Street is within 200 metres of that point.
When you search the centre of CBD on Google, it brings you right to George and Market Street. So Google doesn't lie, it says it all. That's the centre of Sydney. If you want to be in the centre of the action, you've got business, uptown, you've got business downtown, you're right in the centre point there. You can access both as well as the Western Corridor.
I think if you take tenants on that journey and explain that to them and then talk to them about all the wonderful attributes that come from being in the new centre of Sydney, we believe that we'll be able to position One Market Street far more favourably.
The perfect profile tenant for One Market Street is a mid-size occupier that might be 2 to 4 floors that wants to really stamp their foot on a building and brand that asset as their home corporate address. You've got signage rights, and for a 4,000 metre tenant, for instance, that is very unique.
The marketing that has been used, even the signage, has gone a little bit stale. It hasn't been changed for a long, long time. I think we need a new marketing campaign that's very dynamic, that gives us the opportunity to convey the selling points, the numerous selling points of the asset and the owner.
The one thing Knight Frank brings to the table, its ability to collaborate.
We feel a really positive momentum at present in the relationship between Investor and Knight Frank.
Investor is one of Australia's largest landlords. There are a lot of strong personal relationships between the two groups.
We're really culturally aligned. I think more important than that, I think we like each other. I love working with the people at Investa. I think it's mutual in a lot of ways for some of the projects and some of the things that I've done with them in the past.
What you're looking for is a new approach to the marketing and the leasing of the building. We are very much looking to achieve similar objectives to yourselves. We want to make you look good, and I'm confident that we have assembled the correct Knight Frank team to deliver on those objectives for you.
I've always believed that you want an agent on board as your partner who doesn't have a foot in the other camp. They don't have an each-way bet. If the tenant doesn't come to One Market Street for our team, they don't get any reward whatsoever. Really, at the end of the day, I think it comes down to your agent partner's passionate belief in how to articulate the key strengths of the area and the building and the owner to the tenant. And we believe that we can do that better than anyone else in the market.